Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. And one hurts, and one needs. We gotta learn to live together. Baby, peace, peace, alright. Isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurts, with one needs. We gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. And one hurts, and one needs. We gotta learn to live together. Make peace, make peace, peace. Alright. Isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. With one hurts, with one needs. We gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, peace, peace, together. Peace. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining me this evening. It is the 3rd of
no, 2nd of March, 3rd of March. March, the first week of March. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me on the YouTube chat room. Not Facebook tonight. Is because Facebook is now, they are looking for bad people, for people who are truthers. They're looking for them. And I guess they've been watching some of my stuff and they decided to block me. So I was like, okay, why? And normally they'll block my pictures, regular stuff, whatever comes in. Now they made it the video. Now they're saying that I can't even go online, period. And yet there's nothing on there that said that I can't go on, but they're saying, nope, we decided not to let you on. You are not following our standards and that you're hurting people. And really? Do I see tears? Like people call me up and saying, Derek, you're hurting me. Don't talk to me, or don't send no messages out to the public. I mean, give me a break. This is basically what's going on right now. So that's what's happening. So we're here in the chat room, and there may be a smaller amount of people watching the program, but it will pick up. I know it will. Noticing more people coming in the room, which is appreciative. There is a lot of things to talk about this evening, and it's not all to do with Ukraine. Okay, it's more to it. There's actually a lot of things that most people don't know that I have been doing my research on. It's not just somebody else's research or even shared from other groups of people. But one thing normally that I do is I decided to do a little research on predictions of how this was going to happen, or how come this came about. I mean, even though everyone had said this is actually what you call a prediction, that it was actually in the Bible, or sort of like the Bible, and it is a prediction from the Bible by some means. But when I found out one thing is this: I decided to. I wasn't feeling very well. My stomach was not feeling very good. I was feeling a lot of pain in the upper part of my gut, and I just wasn't myself. And so I decided to just sit back in my office, my room, and just sit down and watch some old movies. And it's on YouTube. And so, anyways, as I'm watching watching some of the movies, and I start thinking, okay, I gotta watch this. And it was actually the first movie I saw. It was an old black and white back in the 50s, 60s, taken in Europe. And the story was about a young man who actually was very, very poor in Portugal. And his mother, he had no father. Father had passed away. His mother was the only one that raised him. And so when she raised him, he was a person that was not knowing what he really wanted to do at the time, but yet she always gets him to do all kinds of errands, and he tries his darndest to be better. I mean, he's not stupid, he's not dumb, he's, I would say, not wiseless, but he's just a very happy-go-lucky guy. But there are people out there that are living outside or in the village, and they just don't like him because he's different. Okay, he just was totally different, just a person that, for some reason, anytime he ever gets himself in trouble, there's always people getting him in trouble, not himself, but people getting him in trouble. Anytime he ever has an accident, it's always the cause of somebody else that actually makes him have the accident. And then they blame him for it, like it's his fault. And I'm thinking, okay, this is an interesting story. So then at the time, his mother played a trick on him. Actually, what happened was there was actually a couple of priests that came to his house, which actually he was supposed to be the brother of his mother. And there are two ministers. They're not full-time priests. They're just ministers of the cloth. And anyways, monks, I would say. So they were visiting the family, and the mother was wanting her son, to become a priest. And he goes, no, mom, that's not what I want. I'm not interested in that. So what the mom had done that very same time, within the hour, she faked a near death. She faked that she fell and she passed, and she opened her eyes and she says, well, my last request, I want my son to become a priest, and promise me you're going to become a priest. So his mother thought she was dying. So he turned around, okay, mom, I promise. Next thing you know, she got up on her feet, and then she says, okay, now you go with your uncle, and he's going to take you to the Catholic cathedral, and you're going to live there, and you're going to learn to become a monk. Which basically, he doesn't want to break a promise, and he accepted the promise. So, so what happened was, he decided to go to learn from the monks, and he learned about praying. So once he learned how to pray, okay, hang on a second, guys. Go to, where is it? Go to my YouTube. Everyone's texting me right now. Go to my YouTube, and yeah, and I'm sure more people start coming in. Follow the numbers. Everyone's asking, like, why? What happened? Yeah, I'll tell you all about it. So like I said before, folks, Facebook gave me the royal boot. They froze me from doing any sharing of anything, not even hardly even texting people. Anything that I have as far as a package concerned, like say pictures or a story, they won't let me send the column. They freeze that. And if I want to run a show on Facebook Live, they won't let me do that. They have been going through, they've been reviewing all of my stuff now, and they're saying again that what I'm doing is against their standards. So and they've been taking a lot of things down, things that had no reason whatsoever. But what happened, here's the part of it. What really caused it was because I said on a little blurb, I can hardly wait that the masks and the 6 feet apart is gone. That's all I said. It's almost over. It's going to be gone, right? That's all I said. They shut me down. They locked me out because they said I said those words. That is done. And they didn't like it. They just said, okay, we're going to teach you a lesson. We're going to shut you off for 7 days. So basically, I can't do anything for about 6 days now, and for another 6 days. So, at least it's 6 days, not 90 days. But I will say this, folks, FB is going to be gone in not too long from now. As far as what I'm understanding, the way I'm reading all the information from the intel, it looks to me that fake FB is going to be gone in the next few weeks or so. So if anybody's actually has anything important that you have that you want to keep, you better download it now and save it in your computer, because I've been told this many times, but the thing is that why they're taking so long, they tried to, well, I guess we'll get more into that in a few minutes, but I want to talk about this other part too. I get misled. Anyways, talking about the monks that actually wanted him to, they were trying to help him learn. So basically, he learned how to pray. What happened was that he accidentally knocked over one of the statues of Mother Mary. It's a small one, and broke the head off of it, right? So what happened was that he decided to take the head and put it somewhere on the shelf, and then he just looked at that specific head, and he started to look at her and pray. Well, he didn't realize that as more he's involved praying, he's starting to levitate off the ground. Like literally, he was levitating. Now, this is a true story, folks. He actually was levitating off the ground while he's praying. So one of the monks walked in and seen him levitate. So then he goes back and tells the rest of the congregation. Next thing you know, the whole group of people are getting out. Yeah, you're telling a lie. No, why lie to us? You've been drinking too much wine, and the whole 9 yards. And next thing you know, one of the other monks walks in, and there he was, still levitating up there. And then they go, they're freaking out. So another monk comes in after them, and then they realize after that they thought he was possessed, as in the opposite, right? So they decided to do a depossession, like he was out to get rid of the devil. And they're doing their little nightly thing. I don't know how, the way I watched it, it was so, anyways, their way of doing it. And he's praying, right? But they, at the time, as they decided to try to get rid of the demon, out of him, they decided to shackle him in chains, like, I mean, heavy chains around his arms, around his legs. So if he decides to levitate, there's no way that these chains will hold him down. So in the meantime, they're doing their devil cleansing, so to speak. And I call it exorcism, but they're devil cleansing, their way of doing it. But as they think they're doing it, they think he's possessed, like I said. What happened was they thought he was going to be done. The devil left him, so to speak, they thought. They walked out the room, and in the background, they heard chink, like chains falling off of him. And there he was. They ran back in the room, and there he was, levitating even higher while he's praying in front of Mary, the statue. And so they realized after that he was for real. And as they're walking in, the light was so bright. Okay. Like, I mean, it was hallowed light. Now, that's one of the movies. And I thought, okay, this is an interesting movie. I want to see something else. So I clicked on another movie. And this one was called Fatima. And that was done also in Portugal. Back in 1917, this is very important for you guys to know this. Back in 1917, there were 3 little children. I'm sure you may have heard about that story. A lot of you my age will know probably, but some of you younger ones may not know. But back in Portugal, back in 1917, there were 3 children, 2 little girls and 1 boy. And by accident, there's a place, I think it's called Calo, and there's a little hill outside of the village where they were in Fatima, outside of Fatima, no more than maybe a half mile away. And so they went out there, and they were standing there, and they saw the clouds coming in. Even though the sky was blue, suddenly the clouds are coming in, just a specific circular amount of clouds. 2 of the girls, and okay, go to my page. Two of the girls were, they can see Mary appearance, not fully appeared, but she was a beautiful lady in white that was appeared in the clouds. And the boy didn't see them yet. He goes, how come I can't see her? And the girls are saying, because, and then the Mother Mary told the girls that he has to do a prayer with his rosary. So he did a prayer with his rosary, and then as all of a sudden there she was for him to see. So in the meantime, now they're on their knees and they're talking to her, and Mary was giving them messages. And to the point of, throughout the months to a couple of years, the kids were actually giving messages from Mother Mary, what was going to happen as far as predictions concerned, healing people, curing people, the whole 9 yards. But the fact is that the government and the churches are totally against it. They thought that these kids were making it up, just looking for attention, and that they believe that Mary was taking the congregation, the public, away from the churches. And so the priests and the monks and the higher cardinals, they came down to the village trying to convince the kids and make them believe that, oh, they're just making it all up and that they're possessed. They went as far, and this is a true story, they went as far actually having to arrest the children and put them in jail. And they even told the kids that they're going to be executed if they don't tell the truth. Executed. These are like a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old. Okay, these are kids, but they could see her. But throughout the time, the kids want to get reassurance and confirmation from Mary to tell them what can they tell the people to prove to them that this is who you are and that you're for real. And she said that she would give them a sign in October, and it'll be a sign that everyone will see her, or basically get the proof that they'll have to believe. But that's one part which was October, and that was before 12 noon. It was going to happen. I can't remember the date of it. 13th, October the 13th, she said. So then she said also there will be 3 secrets that they'll be shared. 3 secrets. Now, the first 2 secrets was all to do with based on what's going on in the villages and the people. She talked about people that are going to war. And at the time, there was no war. And there was supposed to be the beginning of the First World War. So she predicted, Mother Mary predicted the First World War. She told this to the kids. There's no way the kids would have known, right? And that's why the village got, the governor or the mayor of the village got really upset the fact that how these kids get this message, who told them, right? So Mother Mary had said that this war should never have happened, that it was actually purposely made, started because they wanted money. Making money on weapons and making money on lives. And so this is 1917. Anyways, and the second secret was that was the message for everyone, October 13th, that people will see her presence, and it'll be something totally exciting, right? The third secret, which she did share with the kids, and I thought, okay, now this is an interesting message, because the one that I had, the third message I got was from her when Mother Mary mentioned the Pope. Okay, so May the 13th, 1917, on Sunday was the first apparition. Okay, and then from there on, they would say, Our Lady appears to Lucia. The girl's name was Lucia. She was 10, Francisco, age 9, and Jacinta, age 7. She asked that they return for 5 months in succession on the 13th day of each month at the same hour at each apparition. Our Lady requested that the rosary be prayed every day to obtain peace in the world. Okay, so basically actually asking the kids to use their rosary to pray. And I found that interesting. Now, it gets even more interesting when she said to the kids at the Sistine Chapel in Rome at the same day, an hour, Pope Benedict the 14th consecrate the new Bishop Eugene Pacelli, the future Pope Pius the 12th, known as the Pope of Fatima. Now, in May 27, 2017, the priest of Fatima, Friar Manuel Marquis Ferreira, questions the 3 children for the first time. Now, the second apparition was June the 13th. Now, this is important for you guys to know. Our Lady tells the children that God wished to establish the world devotion to her Immaculate Heart. About 50 people are present at the Cova d'Aria at the time of this apparition. Okay. And Maria de Santos Caria, known as Maria del Capellina, heard about the apparitions, decided to build a portico where the apparitions were taking place. Now, the one that I thought, the first vision is the vision of hell. You have seen hell, where the souls of poor sinners go to save them. God wills to establish in the world devotion to the Immaculate Heart. Now, the second part is detailed prophecy of events that will occur if the Pope and the bishops of the world do not perform a public and solemn ceremony of the consecration of Russia to the Immaculate Heart. You hear the words, guys? The not to do not perform. Let's see. Say this again. The second part is a detailed prophecy of events that will occur if the Pope and the bishops of the world do not perform a public and solemn ceremony of the consecration of Russia to the Immaculate Heart. Okay. Then the third part, known as the third secret, involves the vision of a post-apocalyptic world in which a future Pope, Pope Francis, was named. Pope Francis was named. Apocalyptic world in which a future pope is executed on a hill before a cross outside a devastated city, along with priests, bishops, religious, and members of the laity. Okay? This is part of it. No one knows about this. People have forgotten. This is the third secret that Mother Mary had shared with the children. The third part, known as the third secret, involves the vision of a post-apocalyptic world in which a future pope is executed on a hill before a cross outside a devastated city, along with priests, bishops, religious, and members of the laity. And guess what? You guys know, because the POPE is not here. They've been gone for a little more than 2 years. Okay? None of them are around. They're gone. And this is what happened. So the third secret was finally complete. Now, whatever had to happen to the three children, well, the Mother Mary said the children would be going to heaven while they're still children in the next few years, and then the oldest will be a dedicated nun for the remaining of her years in her 80s, in her 90s, and she did. So, and yet the people will come in by them thousands and millions to this village in Portugal. And even to this day, they even built a chapel to honor Mother Mary. So I thought you guys need to know that, because I thought this was quite interesting, that it's important that we need to share that. So now there was another pope that thought that he himself was going to die or to be executed, which is not true. It never happened. In fact, one of the popes actually decided to want to see the third secret. He wanted to see the document, and so he thought that he was going to save his life by having to. He thinks himself that he was going to be the one that's going to be killed. It wasn't him, because they said not just the Pope, everyone, all the people under him were going to be executed. So now you guys know. This is a story right here. Okay. So the thing is that I know myself in my heart, whenever I get led to see something I had to see, and Spirit has a way to lead us, and they make us see something. Sometimes that's why we have to not have, like, for example, Facebook was trying to stop me from sharing with you the truth. Why? Who are they working for? Right? They don't want the truth shared. Now, if I spoke about that tonight, and if I didn't have that moment of being them locking me out, some of the people may not agree. They may turn around and say, I don't agree with that. They may not like the idea of what I'm saying. But this is the third. Some people say, well, can you prove it that the Pope is already gone? I have copies of the documents that all these popes and cardinals were taken to the Gitmo a long time ago. Okay. Since we've had this so-called C, they've been taken away because there's a lot of child and PEDO um, involvement by them, and a lot of dark, very dark people, as in evil. So they've been taken out. And if you start thinking that you see, oh, someone said they're actually standing at the window. No, that's all CGI or an actor wearing a mask. Because I already know, I've been told, and even quite a few other people like Gene Code, people like them have actually all said they're gone. They've been taken out and taken away a long time ago. So I wanted you guys to know this. But so basically, this prediction did happen. So the Fatima of 1917, where Mother Mary predicted the third secret, and it did happen. The Pope, his cardinals, anybody who associated with them that are wearing even the red shoes, they've been taken out. That place is empty. It's gone. No, anybody who's a follower of the darkness, of the serpent, that so to speak, they're gone. They've been taken out and taken away and taken out. Okay, because I wanted you guys to know this. Now, I've had a lot of people tell me, Derek, you need to see this about this person, see this about that person, see this person about Gene Code. Like, I know all about Gene Code. I've been following Gene Code for a long, long time. I was following Gene Code more than 2 years, 3 years maybe. As soon as he came out, I was following him pretty well almost from the very beginning. And this man was bang on about everything, and especially when he actually works for Mr. T, okay, in the US. He works for him. And so they give him information, and he's actually part of that. So anything to do with underground, anything to do with dumbs, anything to do with bad, evil things, he's been witnessed to it. He's seen it all, and to him, a lot of people actually have nightmares about it, right? Now, we've been talking about, everyone's talking about the Ukraine, they're talking about Russia. I already knew that Russia is not the bad country, and everyone has to know the truth, folks. Russia is not the bad country. It's the people that run Ukraine were the evil ones. And how I know that? Because I've seen it. I've seen what Gene Code and others have said. Their statements, those have been the military. They were sent down there. Putin was sent down there for one reason, one reason only, and that is to take out the pedophiles, to rescue the kids, and get into, and there's dumbs there, deep underground tunnels, and where's where all the kids are kept. Okay, these are ugliness of people that are evil, and the government is in control of it. So what Putin did is he gone out there and he actually blew up the certain buildings that these pedophiles were running. And there's so much human trafficking in Yugoslavia, or no, Yugoslavia. Take it back. I was reading about some of you, but there were some. Let's put it this way: there was some really bad, heavy human trafficking that was part of Yugoslavia, and then that got cleaned up about a year and a half, 2 ago. Then it went over towards Poland, but Poland is not bad, okay? But the Ukraine was trying to corrupt Poland. Anyways, what I do know, as I understand it, and or understood what they're trying to explain, is that anything you see on the mainstream media, and I've watched some of the stupidest columns that they're using, that CBC and CBS and all of them are releasing on TV, it's absolute garbage. Any explosions or anybody looks as though they're all bloodied up, those are all from movies and video games, folks. There's nobody that has died there. Okay, they've already said up and down, if anybody died, there are the bad guys. Okay, Putin went out there specifically to blow up some buildings, but blow up some underground places that are underground tunnels, underground cities, just like we had here in Canada, like just across the world, same thing. Okay. And they went down there specifically to get rid of people, get rid of all the bad guys, and to rescue the kids. These children, they actually rescued well over 3,000 children these last couple of weeks to rescue them, to bring them home where they belong, to their families. And there's way more kids that are scooping up right now. There have been some children that they found that had died, but the children were not killed by Putin. They were killed by the Ukrainian evil people. Okay, I'm not taking all Ukraine. I'm talking about the bad guys, people in the government. That president is the most evilest person you ever known. He actually is he's a Satanist follower. He's a follower of, you name it. There you can see his gestures when he starts showing gestures of, if name it, like it's sickening. I'm absolutely sickening. Okay. So, and yet this guy's actually an actor, and there are so many photos of him saying, "Oh, look at him! He's in his military uniforms." Those military uniforms that these other people are wearing, most of them are actually they're hired as crisis actors. Okay, and there's a fellow who's a friend of mine on Facebook who actually was hired to be a crisis actor a couple of years ago, and told me they hired him to be a crisis actor for a commercial. And he was told it was a commercial until he found out later that that commercial was turned into one of the editorials on TV. He didn't like it too much. He was upset about it. And then they told him to mind his own business and keep his nose out of it, and to shut up, not to say a word, if he knew it was best for him. And he was scared. They startled him. They told him to keep his mouth shut. But they didn't tell him at first. So they're actors they hire to be crisis actors. These actors have no idea what their job is, or how to become famous for what. They thought they're doing either a documentary or a film, making movies. And that's exactly what this whole thing is about, folks, is to make a movie, to make it look real. Most of these explosions you see on video or on TV are from video games. They were set up that way. Anytime you ever seen an explosion or a bomb come down, they actually were doing a movie about the Ukraine in New Zealand, and they're blowing up people in New Zealand. And I remember seeing one. I'll laugh at this one. There was actually a World War II tank slowly going across the field, and behind that tank you could see silhouettes of bodies going like it was cartoony behind the tank, right? And there's a shuffle of people running across the film. That's all for a movie, folks. Those were just outtakes for a movie, and yet they decided to use these pieces of film and put them on TV, cut and paste to make it look as actually as authentic. There's a photograph of a woman wearing bandages and blood all over her face. Okay? She's a crisis actor. They hired her in 2018 to do an editorial in the Ukraine. And then they used the very same picture again this time. Repeat, except what they did is they put Putin's picture next to it, saying that he was responsible for her bloodied. And yet there's another picture of her all nicely dressed up and doing a commercial for something. I mean, come on, guys. But don't start believing everything you see on TV. The mainstream media is getting paid to lie to you. Okay? Russia is not invading Ukraine because Russia is Ukraine. Ukraine is Russia and always has been. Why would Putin destroy his own country? There's a couple of pieces of the province of the country that they did not want Putin to have because they're controlled by the deep state. So he went after the deep state in some areas. Okay, that's what they do. So I wouldn't be bullshitting you whatsoever. I don't do that. I get the factual truth. Gene Code and all them. Gene Code said it's all a setup. It's all they're doing. Putin's down there for one reason: is to go after the pedophiles, take them out, to arrest them, to go after child trafficking, anyone who's being trafficked. They're going after them right now. That's what this whole thing is for. It's nothing but invading Ukraine, none whatsoever. But What did Krista Freeland do? Who works for Trudeau? What does she do? Let's lead a protest for the Ukraine. What does she do? She's the leader. Gee, I thought it was against the law to protest in the streets. And she's got everybody all worked up, and she's wearing a Ukrainian shirt, the whole 9 yards, and she's down there. Nah, 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 nah. You guys may not know this, but Krista Freeland actually is a double spy. She works for the Ukraine herself. She works for the government, but she works for the corrupt government. She's a double agent. She's been selling secrets from Canada to the Ukraine. Did you know that? Oh, yeah, for years. You know why? Because she's also related to Hitler's family during the Second World War. She's part of that. She's not what you think she is, guys. She's not that person. But think about it, too. She's placed there for a reason, to get your attention. Because this Krista Freeland is not the real Krista Freeland. The real Krista Freeland has already been taken away. This one here is just wearing a mask and just doing her shit like she was told to do. Right? One thing I did was told from Spirit when I talked to Spirit a couple of nights ago, when I wasn't well, like I said, I was not feeling very good. And the reason why I wasn't feeling very good, because something was happening to me, and I knew then after that I had to figure out what was going on. So everyone's asked me, is there a show tonight? Yes, there is. Where is it? Go to my page. I'm on YouTube. Yes, guys, I am on YouTube. Everyone's asking, where are you? I'm on YouTube, not Facebook. Facebook blocked me. They locked me up for 7 days. I got 6 days left. So, just telling the truth. They got upset with me. They didn't like me sharing this. And one of the pages I put in there, that's how, how I got kicked out, guys? I said, like I said before, I said on my page that I can hardly wait, the masks are off and no more 6 feet apart. I'll be glad we're back to normal again. That's all I said. This whole thing is crap. We're glad. What do they do? You got 7 days. You can't talk about it. They wrote in there saying that I was going to hurt someone by saying those words. I tried to fight them. I even tried to respond back to them. Guess what they did? Yeah, thank you. I try to respond back to them and tell them, and and it would bounce back at me saying, "No, not accept it. No, not accept it. No, not accept it." Like, you're trying to tell them, "I don't agree." You're supposed to say you don't agree. They won't accept your disagreement, as far as they're concerned. And these are kids working. These are children. I'll call them children working for Facebook. Why are they there? These are cyber hackers. These are people that are hired to come after you and find things about you so that they can prevent you from doing what you want to do. Because I will say this, folks, Zuckerberg's not here anymore. Zuckerberg's here, okay? Holding on to the bars. He's not here anymore. He's gone. Somebody's holding his hand for him. So whoever these people are, they're preventing me from sharing the truth. And it's not just me alone. A lot of people. They gave me one in there. They said, well, you have 90 days. We're going to cut back your people seeing your page. Why? You got 90 days, and anything I put in there that they disagree with, you get lesser people finding your page. What is this, guy? This is communists, right? That's communism, straight communism. So, anyways, that one. As of February 22nd, the quantum system is on. Yes, folks, the quantum system is on since February 22nd. What do I do here? You guys may not know this or do know this, but there was a complete city blackout in Taiwan. Okay. As of yesterday, day before yesterday, Taiwan went out black. EPS. EBS, guys. Taiwan got hit first. EBS. Okay. Yeah, Catherine. Yeah, your Facebook account's been restricted for a couple of months. I know. It's getting ridiculous. But like I said, folks, don't worry if you don't get back in there. Just take what's yours because Facebook's not going to be here that long. Facebook is desperate. They're absolutely desperate. They're trying to find a way that they can, how do you say this? To scare you, to make you think that you can't think for yourself anymore. They're desperate because the Facebook is going down. And so is quite a few other pages are going down, and they're going down very quick. If you guys ever seen a photograph with President T, okay, the real president, holding on to some logos in his hand, and he said, these are going down, these are going into the swamp, as in gone, just like that. Because, and I'll tell you guys, this is how it works. Once the Tesla is turned over, once they hook up Tesla, they turn on the switch, all of these internet servers, guys, are gone. Okay, you're not going to have the same server. It's a brand new server. That means you got to redo all of your passwords, everything all over again, right from scratch. Because by then it will be under military control. No longer FBI, CIA, NSA, you name it. No, not NCIS. No one's going to control it anymore. No one gets to see and hear what you do. They give you back your privacy, you get back your life. That's what this whole thing's about. The deep state, or the bad guys, okay, black hats, these are the ones that are so evil. They're trying to do everything they can desperately to destroy us. Whatever they can, they're still trying to get people to go in and go get lined up and get the jab. Well, number one, it is illegal to get the jab now. It's illegal to get a passport, to have a passport in Canada. Okay, that's been passed already. Anything you see in cabinet, those guys are no longer in cabinet. Those guys are no longer hired to be cabinet ministers. Nobody's getting paid anymore. They've been taken out. They've been taken away. They're done. There's no more cabinet minister. You can see it all TV all you want. You think that the Queen's running it? The Queen of England's running it? No, she's gone. Okay? We don't have no more crown. The crown's gone. Everything is wiped clean. Now, you guys may not think that you believe it. It's going to happen. You'll see it, the evidence. Look for it. You want to see the evidence? Go into Telegram. Go into my page, the True North Strong and Free page on Telegram. You will see every factual piece of truth. Okay? Originally, for example, there were two Putins. The original Putin, Vladimir Putin, was as evil can be. This man was so corrupt. He was a person who actually is part of the mafia, and if he didn't like you, he ordered you to be killed. Okay? If you didn't do his bidding, as a president, he would kill you. He'd try and get you ordered to have you killed. His own cabinet, his own people got upset and said, we got to get rid of him because he's going to kill everybody and there would be nothing left. Because basically what the original Putin was trying to do was to wipe out everybody so then he is the only dictator. I mean, there'll be no more. He wanted to be like another evil person to control the country. So they got rid of him. They replaced him back in 2010. 2010. And in fact, even his wife had said when this other Putin showed up, his wife said, that's not my husband. That's another actor. Who is this man? I don't want to be with him. So what happened was that he did what he was supposed to do. She refused to be anywhere near him, so she asked for a divorce. And so she left him. She divorced Putin, the name Putin. She divorced him, but this Putin was the good guy. The White Hats placed him in there. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Now, Wendy's saying, and she's up in Australia, she says, here in our state, in Australia, the premier is enforcing kids in 3 years to 6 to continue wearing masks as they are until they're vaccinated. Well, number one, they cannot and should not. You can actually, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get your kids to come out of schools. Don't let the kids go to schools. Take the kids away. Okay. How do you comment? Go into my chat room, Blair. I'm in. Okay, folks. If you're there, Keith, could you send Blair a message showing her how to get in there? Yeah. Catherine, thank you. Yeah. Wendy, please let the Queen Ramona know this. She'll get the military down there. See, basically, she's only able to do so much. But if you're saying this, Wendy, then let her know, because she'll send them down there. See, basically, the deep state's still trying to scare the kids, and they still want the people to, there's enough is enough. Australia was used as a testing country, and they use them so badly that a lot of people are psychologically right out of it half the time. I mean, they're trying to survive. They're like, as we try here doing Canada. It's crazy. So I'll talk about Queen Ramona in a few minutes. So like I said before, there's a complete blackout in Taiwan. So it's working itself over to other locations. So when they're talking about blackout in a complete country, that means they're picking up what's left of the pedophiles and they're scooping them up. And once that's done, then everyone gets their lives back again. That will be a whole lot better than it was before. Okay. Also, if she's in my chat room, I don't see Blair in there. Go into, yeah, Blair. Go on. Oh my God. Okay. Let's see here. Conservative parties and liberal parties. Oh yeah, let's talk about this. I did bring this up months ago. In fact, even a year or two ago, when our prime minister in Canada, Harper, when he was in government, conservative government at the time, he actually signed a contract to hand over our country to China. He got paid off, and then he walked away. And China was coming in, working its way into this country to control it. We were actually going to become a Chinese-owned country. Okay, no disrespect to the Chinese people, but communist China. That's what their goal was. And then after that, Trudeau signed, and he actually welcomed them in. That's the reason why we had so many military bases, Chinese military bases set up all over in BC. That was going to be their main base. To basically, Trudeau was going to have them become the new police force. That would be no more RCMP, no more city police, no more military. That they were going to take over. That was their goal. That was Harper's goal and Trudeau's goal, because they got paid off well to do this. So at the time, we could have been starting to speak Chinese of sorts, and this was already arranged. And it was arranged not because of China also, but also the Rothschilds. They're the ones that pretty well sold our country out from under us to another foreign country. So because they wanted to them, it's just, we were no longer in that was interesting to them. They wanted to get rid of us. But the only thing is that don't fret about it, folks, because that was taken care of, because we have special alliance forces that came in last year or the year before and cleaned it all up. I remember hearing the story from Gene Code when he said that in British Columbia there was a secret base which was outside of Surrey here where I live. They had a military base they're building to set up, and they actually had underground tunnels made, and they're going to be heading to Washington, D.C. to attack President Trump's people and President Trump himself when he was in the White House. And Trump knew about this, and basically they were waiting for them to come up under the tunnels, and they blew the tunnels up with them inside, all the Chinese military soldiers. There's apparently, they said, it was well over 100,000 that had been blown up from inside Okay, so China was going to attack the United States, but they were going to use Canada as their new base. So you guys may think this is it was a joke. It's not a joke. I knew all about this a long time ago because I remember seeing photographs outside of Surrey here, photographs of the Chinese military base being built. Even our mayor in Surrey was told to keep his mouth shut. I'm sure he was told to keep his mouth shut, and he probably got paid to do it. He's another person that needs to be picked up and taken away for corruption. Okay. What I have been shown here from Spirit, because I was doing my meditation with Spirit, and they told me, remember, everybody's talking about the Great Reset, and Trudeau kept talking about we're going to have the Great Reset. And the Great Reset means actually was China to control our country and basically control all of us. Basically, we would have no rights whatsoever. They're going to take all those rights away from us. But again, we have our rights back. What Spirit said to me, that we're having what you call the Great Restart. The Great Restart, and this is from Spirit, they call it the Great Restart, means restarting over again, that our lives will become better, more improved. We will be well financially stable the rest of our lives. No one's going to be poor. Everyone will be very well financially taken care of. Everyone will have a house, place where you want to go, plenty of food. How you live your life is going to be absolutely nothing but freedom. Okay, free thinking, free thought. I mean, it's basically our gas prices are going to go down. Housing prices are going down. Will be going down around the. If you remember the year 1950, 1955 of the housing industry, that's pretty well what our housing industry is going to turn itself into. So basically, our houses will be very affordable. Food will be affordable. No electricity. We're going to pay no electricity anymore. Nothing to do with energy except for fuel. We'll pay for our own fuel. Our fuel will go back to 1950s gas. So will you have a bus? Yes, Keith, you'll have a bus. You'll have lots of buses, plenty of buses to afford. You probably buy a brand new one. So I mean, a lot of people get the chance to travel anywhere they want. Apparently there's not going to be hardly any borders. There's talk about them not having a border between the United States and Canada. So we all have our freedom to go back and forth between both countries because we are both the same. What's the difference? All there is U.S. and Canada. So we're going to go back between both countries. Okay, so there won't be any of these passports. There's going to be none of that. We're going to go through. That's it. No more passports. Okay. Our cash money will be equal. Anything that we will be spending is no higher or lower than anybody else's value. So, and by some chance, what's going to happen down the road? We will have cash money in our hands, as some people are saying, oh no, it's going to be all digital. No, it's not. We'll still have cash money in our hands if we so choose. That's not going to be taken away whatsoever. So some people want us to believe that we'll be digital, that we all be using our wrist or arm or whatever, our phone to get money out. Doesn't work that way. Sorry guys, it doesn't work that way at all. What else is there? We will have our natural law. There's not going to be any more crown law, no more control of us or free way we live our lives. We're going to have a better life, and more than way better life. And I do know this for sure because I talked to Spirit about that. It's not just because I watch people's videos and Now, Queen Romana de Dulo, she actually is. You guys may not like it or like it, but she's legitimate. She's for real. There are some things I still don't agree with. Some of the things that she says it's going to be law, but again, that has to be talked about. At least she's not really making any squalor over right now. She's given everybody an opportunity to have their freedom. She says Canada already has its own freedom. Now, one thing that everybody's talking about is the protests and how come, the truckers speaking up for themselves and protesting this whole 9 yards. Now, what I was understanding that these protesters are the ones that the leaders of the protest, according to internal investigators, really truthful internal investigators, they did investigate the leaders of the convoy, the ones that are running the convoy, 5 or 6 or 7 of them. And according to sources stated, okay, the money that they raised, a lot of that money never did get to the truckers. Some of the truckers never received anything. They got some gases and fuels and foods, but most of those millions ended up in each of those leaders' bank accounts. Apparently, these guys, reason why these guys got arrested was not they weren't arrested for terrorism. They were arrested for money laundering. Their charges is for money laundering. So that's why. That's why they're going to be, they may end up doing time. Because they took that money and they put it into their bank account. And apparently it was not just in one specific name bank account. It was individuals with their names. So if it's true that Pat King got $1 million put in his bank account, you'll have to take a look, guys. Find out. If these other people have been running it, they all each one got $1 million each or more, whatever, you're going to find out. Sooner or later, it's going to be shared in the news. But I'm going to let you know ahead of time. If I'm listening to what they're saying from a True Alliance, and they're saying that they're going to be charged for money laundering, not what you think. They were trying to stop people from actually going any further than having to carry on making more noise. So there were truckers involved. They were helping, coming along in this, but there are some not so nice people either that got hired to make it worse than what it was. I mean, mind you, everyone was celebrating, have a great time, but I think what really got people, like they all said, the noise was so extreme that even they were honking their horns at 1 o'clock in the morning, and that echoes all the way down blocks and blocks and miles away. It wasn't just one horn; it was hundreds. Sure, they're trying to get the cabinet minister's attention, but you guys should know by then, Trudeau was never there. Why do you think Trudeau ran away? Because he's already in prison. Okay? He's already in prison. He's already in jail behind bars. The real Trudeau is behind bars. That's why this other Trudeau could not come forward, because he was told not to. Not because he wanted to. He was told not to make any agreements, because that's why it was called upon for them to start saying, hey, enough is enough. Shut her down. Go home. You're okay now. You guys are taken care of. You got your freedom. They heard you. But for some reason, some people believe that there was no freedom. There was freedom. There still is. Now, what I've been told, if there are any stores that are still insisting on using the passport, or insisting on forcing masks on people, you can now charge them. You can actually have them charged. And you can also sue them for, there's a code. It's a Canadian code. You can sue the company for attempted, I'm not going to say attempted murder. I can't remember what it is. Like it's something to do with the body. That this company is actually I just read this a little bit earlier. Got this column, but you can actually go after them and charge them. They can charge this business or whoever is running it. You can actually go after them, because, like everybody knows, the masks don't do anything anymore for anybody. Never has, right? And the same thing is, there's a name for it, and I can't remember now they use it, but that charge, you can actually charge the store, and the store themselves will be under the Nuremberg Code. They themselves will be arrested and also taken away to prison. And according to what I was watching, the Dedulo, her story today, and she said She's not playing games. If any of these businesses are yeah, bodily harm or even more, but if they don't back off and hold and stand down, these businesses don't stand down. She says the military. She's going to bring her military boys down, and they're going to come and get them. And that's it. They're not playing games anymore. They're done because there's nobody on TV, anybody on TV that they're just pushing. They're trying to see how far they can get away with it. But those people that are doing MSM, anything to do with by pushing to the last jab or pushing the last push to wear a mask, they are going to go to prison. Okay. Any corporate store that's still pushing people to wear masks, there you have to inform them. You guys cannot do this anymore because it was been written in there that we're no longer have to wear masks. We're no longer have to be 6 feet apart. If you carry on pushing this, you're going to be arrested under the Nuremberg Code, not just crimes against humanity, everything. There will be military people coming to get you because that's who will be running the country under military, no longer government. There's no longer a Canadian government anymore. That's done. We're over the corporation. The corporation is no longer in business. Thank you. Perfect. Assault causing bodily harm. Thank you, Catherine. Yes, because basically you can charge them. You can charge the company, charge any business that goes after you. Use that. Use that file. Even if you have to use Action for Canada file, use it. Produce it to their faces, but tell them, like now, stop it. And if they say, well, we're going to call the cops and have you arrested, call a cop. Right? Call the cops. Go ahead. Cops, come over here. This is what we're told. Cops will say, you're right. They already know. The police have already been informed. They already know what's going to happen ahead of time. Banks. A lot of people taking the money out of their regular common banks. And I'll tell you why, because there's a big fear. A lot of these corporate businesses, corporate banks are going to be taken down. There's going to be, and they're saying, oh, we're going to go digital and no one will be able to get their money, and da-da-da-da-da. And you're going to freeze it. Here's what I'd say. If you guys don't trust your own bank, get yourself a farmer's bank or a credit union. Take your money out, transfer to there. There's no problem. Because the fact is, if you have a credit union to go to, right, you are a shareholder of that credit union. But you're not a shareholder of any corporate banks like CIBC or Bank of Montreal or any kind of bank like that. They control you. They tell you what you cannot do. Plus, they're also, if you want to open up a bank account, and I was actually informed today, my wife was actually telling me a story about a young fellow who actually has a First Nations status card, okay? And he went to go open up a bank account in the, I think, Toronto Dominion Bank. They refused his First Nations card, his status card. They said that's not legitimate enough. They wanted his driver's license and something else, right? And he said, this is legal. This is legal tender. And it is, because his card is under government. They refused it because his last name was not of a native name. It was actually of a South Asian, East Indian name. Why? Because his father was East Indian and his mother is First Nations. So he said, I have the right to open up an account. So the next thing, another person that was in there, they both said, oh, we fear for our lives. Get out, leave, or call the police. So he goes home. He never got his bank account. He never yelled at anybody. He just he started like, why was you refusing me? It's a racial thing. So he went home. Next thing you know, the police were at his door telling him, like, do you have proof of what? He says, well, I know why you're here, because I went to the bank. Yep. I want to open a bank account. There's a racial issue. But you know what the banker said? That she feared for her life, that he was going to come across the counter and beat her, hurt her, harm her. You see what I mean? Racial. It's racism. It's still in our country. They haven't stopped from being racists. Okay, it hasn't stopped. And this has got to stop. It's getting to be ridiculous. So like I tell people, those First Nations cards, those status cards are real. They're signed under a federal government. They're accepted by the federal government. But the banks should know better. The bank said, "Oh, we've never seen that before." Yes, you have. It's in your programs. But because his last name had an East Indian name, that's why they refused him. If you already proven your license already, your license card besides your status card, that's fine. No, they weren't happy with that. They thought this is nothing but a con job. See what I mean? So in the meantime, they were always picking on First Nations people at the time. There was an elderly fellow, there's a First Nations elder, and his daughter went to a bank downtown Vancouver, and he wanted to open up a bank account for his granddaughter, who's 12 years of age. They refused him. They told him that he was nothing but a person, a homeless person on the street. This man had well over $100 and some odd $1,000 in his bank account. But because the teller was new in there, he thought he was nothing but a vagrant. So they called the police, and then the police came in and arrested the man. They handcuffed him and his 12-year-old daughter, sitting on the streets trying to get. And then the cops are saying, "I don't believe you. They said that you assaulted the people in the bank." No, he was demanding to get his money out now because they told him that he wasn't allowed to even take any money out because he's nothing but a vagrant. See what I mean? And this is an elder. This shit's got to stop. Really, it's got to stop. There's a lot of good indigenous people out there, and they're mixed. But this young fellow, the first one I mentioned about, he's actually, I think my wife says, he's East Indian, and he's Muslim, but he's also First Nations. Okay, that's a good blend. All three of those are racially termed as people. The banks always go after. They're the ones that insult them all the time, and they're like, "What the hell?" They're human like everybody else, folks. It's ridiculous. So, okay, so now you know there's some crazy things happening out in the world, and but we will be under natural law. There's a lot of things. Now, some people are saying, "Well, how come Queen Dadula hasn't come forward? How come she has come forward?" But there are people out there that are still not wanting to believe that she is existent. She has come out there, but she's going to be out there more often. She has let herself be known, and you'll be hearing about her very, very soon and seeing her more very, very soon. But she doesn't want to do it where she wants to shove herself in her face. Oh, here's the new queen. Okay. Because like she said, there would be nothing but an uprising. People would say, "I don't like her because she's Filipino, mixed." No, that's not what it was about. And like I questioned it too at the beginning when I saw her a couple of years ago. And I looked and then when I heard from Gene Code, and Gene said, and even the president, okay, President T, when he said she's legitimate, then I followed up. Okay, I'm going to stay with it. These two, okay, because Trump's been taking care of this country to keep things better, to better it. He was helping to scoop up people out of here, people that don't belong. He was helping out. But he's also wanted you guys to wake up, open your eyes, and see the truth. That's what this whole thing's all about. Because we need to see what's going on. If you want to stay in your house and hide the rest of your life, well, that's your choice. Not me. I've never, ever, ever worn a mask all this time. You know, once in a while, if I have to wear it, if I have to get something that I need desperately, like say microphone crap, okay, whatever. If I need this stuff, I'll obligate for a couple of minutes. Okay, I'll wear this for a couple of minutes, but I don't have it on my nose. It's under here. That was it. No more. Other than that, that thing's off my face. I'm out the door. But if I go shopping, it's never on. Walk in the mall, never on. No one has ever bothered me. And I told security, "You touch me, I'm coming to get you. You guys will be arrested by the military. You're gone. So back off." And they go, "What?" I said, "Go ahead. Go for it. I know the laws way more than you know." So, there actually have been feeling bad for a lot of people who have been trying to come into the hospitals and get themselves being taken care of, and the hospitals are saying, "Oh, you got to be jabbed before you get in." No, no, you don't. That's been stopped too. No one's allowed. People can go back. People can go back to the doctors, and they don't have to be jabbed anymore. Medical industry, it's gonna be a complete turnaround. It's gonna be fixed. I can hardly wait for the med beds to come out, like med beds to say now they're ready, because they'll be brought. Med beds are right now are already here, but they're working on the kids right now, and but they'll be setting up places, locations for healing centers where all the med beds will be placed. But all the doctors and nurses will have to be retrained, because we're all going back into alternative, no longer pushing painkillers. Alternative. We're getting back into being healthier again, like we're supposed to be, and living longer. Okay, as in, if you want to live for 1,000 years, it's possible. Okay, we were in the Bible. It said we live for 1,000 years. We were able to do that, but who stopped us for living for 1,000 years? All these corrupt idiots, ones that wanted to get rich. They want to control us, so they found a way of stopping us from actually succeeding in our lives, is having to take away our freedoms. And they'll say, "Oh, if you eat this and eat this and do this and do this and do this and take this and that," by the time you start eating and chewing and using and wearing and carrying, you don't know why you're getting sicker and sicker and sicker, or you're not getting as healthy as you want to be. So that's going to stop. They're going to help you get better. Happy to get good knees again. Oh, you got good knees? Yeah. So, okay. So all the people in the chat room, let's say hello to Wendy, Andrew, Catherine, Keith. Let's see, who else is there? Venus. No, that's more. Yeah, coming up. A lot more people. There's some are watching, or some are in the chat room. So it's good. Oh, yeah, med beds will do not just fixing, as in complete finish. Like, for example, if you're having facial issues, hearing issues, eye issues, hair loss, any type of sicknesses, diseases, anything that you've been dealing with that's debilitating you, that'll all be done. These machines are the fixer-uppers. Anything everyone's going to be all the fixer-uppers. And because basically you don't have to start using any more of the, like I tell people, the pharmaceuticals are gone. They'll be done out of the way. They'll be pharmacies and pharmaceuticals they're going bankrupt. They'll be done, completely finished. No more playing wannabe stuff, because it gets to be crazy. All right. So I'm going to open the lines. Let's see here. If anybody wants to call in for readings, you're more welcome to. Open the lines. Let's see here. And that is opened. So like I said before, at the beginning of the program, in 1917, the Fatima in Portugal, 3 little kids, they predicted from Mother Mary. She came and told them, and she said that in the future, there'll be a pope that will be executed with all the others with him. And that actually had taken place. It took place 2 years ago. So that was her prediction, because they were not practicing godly work. They were practicing devil worshiping. So that was completed, and that prediction did take place. If you want to know, folks, your best off to do is, if you want to find out anything more about it, you go on YouTube, and it's called the Fatima, Fatima, 1917, Real Facts and Photos. Also, there's a story about it. And like I said, when I watched that movie, it got my attention. I thought, the third secret, I went, oh no, that's the one that made sense. That 1, 2, and next thing, boom, 3 of that. This is the Pope. Now, I discovered it. No one else has yet. So we'll see what happens, what people will think. What do you guys think? Like you guys want to ask questions, you're more than welcome to 360-566-2875. I'll write the number in the chat room there. Oops, wrong one. Let's see. Area code 306.
Hey, how you doing there, Derek?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Hey, not bad, not bad. Okay, talking about the Queen said something there on her page out of Newfoundland, and she said something about people taking that money for themselves.
Yes.
But Pat was not. Pat saw that they were going to freeze the bank account, right?
Yeah.
So he was taking money into his own account so that he could give it out to the truckers.
Well, according to the internal investigators, they said that. Well, I can't go any further. I can't make claim of it. But all I know is that whether they're basically saying that Pat King's connected to it too. Until it gets cleared up, we won't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's my understanding, that he opened up his own bank account so you could put money in there so that he could get it to the truckers because they were in need of it.
If this is what he's saying, then that can be fixed.
Well, that's what he was saying when he did it.
Yeah, but the thing is that what happened was the secondary monies that came in by the millions too. They raised approximately about $30 million. Right. So this is.
I thought it was about 10 million or so.
No. They opened up another one. They did another one off another website, and they made over. I can't quote me, but possibly I would say between 20 and more million. And there weren't that many truckers down there because there was a lot of truckers that did go home, but there's only a few truckers left that refused to leave. And you don't need a couple $1 million to keep your gas in your truck. So
Pat told them to go, right?
Yeah.
Go home now.
Go home now if you want to.
I heard that.
Yeah, but apparently, but he's been investigated. Like, all I know this, a lot of them are under protective custody too. So some of them are actually that are witnesses. Some of them actually are placed there for a reason, to get others to confess. So for example, when I used to work at Surrey Pretrial as a counselor, anytime it was an inmate, they'll always send a fake inmate to make sure this person actually is, truthful if they're saying what they did or did not do. They always have a fake inmate in there, and that person will spend the night there and trying to talk you into, sharing some stuff. When you find out later what you did or took great pride in doing, then and when it comes to court, that person, that fake inmate becomes a witness in court for the Crown. So that's how they would do it. You think you're going to get away with something, and the next thing you know, hey, I was in that room with them, and I'm an officer undercover. That's what they do. So if Pat is actually he's not in population, I can tell you that for sure. So he's probably with about 5 or 6 other people, and there's always going to be one person in there that's undercover to talk him into talking, and then that's how things become exposed.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's basically what I wanted to
say. I'm hoping that Pat didn't do any of this stuff. If he's supposed to be the good guy, then I'm supporting him. I'm behind him. But if he's, worse than what it was, and there's a lot of people said that he was apparently at the very beginning when he started out, he was not a nice guy. He was apparently a bit of shit disturber, but he was in the way of being on the opposite side, and like not trying to help anybody but hurt people. So I don't know. They're making up. There's always be a story that we made up until you find the truth.
Well, he didn't want no. You know that.
Say it again.
He didn't want no violence.
No, he never mentioned that. He always kept telling people don't
turn their back on Antifa.
Yeah. Oh, there were Antifa down there. They were down there. They were doing their thing, and they were trying to throw up a swastika out there. They were trying to throw up another Confederate flag and whatever. And then they were trying. Some other person came in there trying to desecrate Terry Fox's statue, and they try and make it look as if his statue was being an insult. I'll be honest with you guys. I know Terry Fox's history. And I knew about it because I knew Terry Fox personally years ago before he became famous. And back in Alberta, I knew him. I knew of him. And when Terry was out there trying to raise money for cancer, he was trying to raise money to help other people. But at the very beginning, when CBC said, "Oh, he's just in it for the money," CBC said that he was just in it for the money. So why support him? And Terry got fed up and said, "I don't need your support. Screw you." And he's still running, right? Yeah. So he got pretty upset. There's a video on that somewhere. And he did the run still. And then when he became very ill, there was the federal government made a deal with his mom, his family, and said, if you create a Terry Fox Foundation, we'll help you. Meantime, when the federal government gets in and starts creating foundations, that means they get the most of the money and nothing hardly goes on much to cancer. So basically that's what happened. So Terry Fox became the hero because that's exactly what happens. If you can't.
Okay. And I got another thing there. The Canadian flag. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I think it was 65. We were running under the red ensign until then.
Yeah.
And then I remember as a young boy, I guess I was I was born in 51, so in 65, whatever I was age at. But they asked everybody in Canada to send designs in what they thought the Canadian flag should look like, right? And then they went through those flags, a panel, and they came down with a few, okay? Then they voted on which flag they wanted, or which flag should represent Canada. And it ended up because of Diefenbaker. There was two flags. There was one with the two from sea to shining sea, two blue,
yeah,
and a red maple leaf, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then there was the other one that we have today. Diefenbaker thought that the government was going to vote for the two blue stripes, right? But the government got together because they knew Diefenbaker was going to vote for the red one, the red and white. So it was unanimous at the red and white thing. That's what actually happened. We actually decided what flag we were going to have.
Well, actually, also
I remember that.
Yeah, I know, but I remember that too, because what also too most people don't know, that the Rothschilds were also involved in it, and they're the ones that said yay or nay if that flag is what they're going to have or not.
Okay, and one more thing.
Yeah.
I don't care if Rothschilds were involved in that flag. If the Canadian people want to keep it, that's their choice.
Oh, yes.
Not hers.
No, but the reason why, if you ever heard the story about the flag and what it did represent, you're not going to like to hear it. Because that particular flag was made specifically to represent adrenochrome. It was actually, that's what they're doing, because basically our country in Canada was considered one of the most, at the time, was considered one of the most corrupt countries in the world. And yet we didn't know, none of us would ever known that because we're such peacekeeping people. But the underground, those actually the people that are bad and evil, again, we're going to learn, a lot of people are going to learn more about it down the road. And then they're going to realize after, oh, that's why. You see.
Okay.
So,
Do you remember Vimy Ridge, World War I, 1917?
Yeah.
Where all four of the Canadian Corps fought together as one.
Yeah.
And took Vimy Ridge.
Yeah.
All right. In the tunnels down below Vimy Ridge, Canadians, the tunnelers, the Canadian tunnelers and that. Anyway, when the tunnels were taken up to the front line, the Canadian front line, to hide all the troops, the men in the tunnels would sketch their names, right? They would etch into the chalk walls different designs like the Canadian beaver, the moose, the elk.
Yeah.
But most prevalent then in those tunnels was the maple leaf.
Yeah.
And I just thought I'd let you know that.
Yeah, because the maple leaf to us represents Canada. Reason why? Because we were known for our maple leaf syrup.
All right. Okay.
Right.
One more little thing. When they in the dark about 4 o'clock, they started coming out of the tunnels into the front line. And one Canadian looked, and it was written down. He said, "I look to my right, Canadians. I look to my left, Canadians."
Yeah.
We're truly a country.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to remind you of.
But here's something you guys may not know. The Canadian soldiers, okay, they're called the Canadian Armed Forces. They weren't called Canadian soldiers then. We're called the Canadian Armed Forces. They were sent there and they volunteered. Okay, all these soldiers in Canada volunteered. They were not forced to join. Okay, they were not forced to join by any means in Canada. That and then
they
also
were not conscripted.
No, and there were a couple.
First and Second World War.
Yeah.
The Canadians were volunteers. In the Second World War, it wasn't until 1945 that they okayed the use of conscriptees because Canadian reserves were depleted so bad after the Battle of the Scheldt.
Yeah, but very few people actually followed it, and very few people even used it in 1945.
No, not enough. There were some scriptees sent to the front, but not enough of them made it to make a difference in the war.
No. But the thing is about the Canadian Force that we're trying to point out is that anybody who was a Canadian soldier, we were the first people that stood in front of the American soldiers. We were the ones in the front lines. We chose to be in the front lines, and that was always been like us. I mean, there are some people that did radio shows and TV shows that say the Canadians were nothing but cowards. No, we weren't the ones that were, we were in the front. We volunteered because we were fighting for our country. We were fighting to help out. If anybody needed help, we were the neighbor. So people they tend to forget that. And I had to call into one of the radio shows and say, you're full of shit. You're wrong. You think you joined the army. I said, how did you join the military? Did you join or you were forced to join? He goes, well, I was drafted. I said, well, guess what? Nobody in our families ever got drafted. They joined because they cared. And he shut his mouth. I said, we're not the cowards. I said, if you guys got drafted because you didn't want to, and some people that run, well, that's your choice. If you don't want to fight for any specific cause, if you're not interested in shooting someone, then you're not considered a coward. You have a choice of your own. You make a decision. But not everybody has to be forced to fight. Unless you really have to. And I've seen people that didn't join, that did run and hide, but they became down the road. They decided to get into the law. They became lawyers. They became police officers, but they refused not to go and kill people for no reason. To them, they rather do something to defend, but not to go and shoot somebody that they don't know. Which makes a whole lot of sense.
I'll leave you with that.
Yeah.
You can chew on it.
Oh, chew on it?
I'll see you later.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. 360-566-2875. You're more than welcome to call in, ask questions, or If you want to get a reading, you're more welcome to. You can ask a question. Okay, Wendy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Good.
Just wondered if there was anyone hanging around who might have a message for me.
Anyone hanging around? Oh, see what.
Well,
see what the hanger-oners are doing. I'm not sure if I read you, but I will say this: there's actually a man, and he's on your father's side. He says he wants to make contact with you. So
okay.
It's either your dad passed or your father, or someone on your father's side for sure. Is your dad?
Well, my dad's.
Is your dad still here?
No, most of his family's passed on now.
Okay. Well, your dad is adamant to make contact with you here. He's telling me to tell you this. He says that lately, he says you've been getting headaches or feel like you're getting headaches. He said, try not to let that bother you. And you're probably allowing yourself to become unbalanced. And sure, you see things going around you, that's going on all around you. But he's also saying too, where you're at. You're in Australia, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I am.
Your dad's saying, he said there's people sent down there specifically to cause trouble. So he may be talking about the protest. People down there to cause trouble, to keep it going, to keep it more violent. So he says, don't trust those people. They're there to go there to cause trouble. They're doing it purposely to keep a war going, not to make a peace.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He says, watch your back, making sure that who to trust. But he's also saying too that he's actually saying he's sorry he's not there to be there with you, like physically there with you. He says you've been thinking about him this last 3 to 4 weeks. He says you've been on his mind, or he's been on your mind.
Yes, he has.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Like I'm hearing, oh, Dad, I sure wish you were here. You can straighten them out.
Yeah.
Tell them what they need to know.
I wanted to know he was on my side, that I was doing the right thing.
No, your dad's on your side big time. He's actually watching over you. He's not playing. Your father is like, he says, I'm a free spirit. He says, but it will get better where you're at. It will get better in the matter of a couple of weeks. He says, this is all going to go away.
That's good. Yeah. Good to hear. Thank you.
He says everyone's going to find their peace, but there'll be a lot of politicians you'll be seeing in person that'll be walking out in handcuffs.
There's a lot of them deserve to be in handcuffs, that's for sure.
But when they're walking out in handcuffs, those are the last time you'll ever see them. They'll never be released.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you know this, but Australia was considered one of the biggest child trafficking or country in the world. You had the largest DUMs under your city, under your country. And when they did the lockdown, they were going after so many aliens, getting rid of them. And so there was a great war. There was thousands upon thousands of Alliance soldiers that lost their lives in Australia to rescue the kids.
I didn't honestly know that. I've only realized in the last few months that there's been these, they've hidden people who are involved in pedophilia.
Yeah.
Like they make a big deal of one ring that they've crashed, but they've got suppression orders in place on people in high positions for 99 years. They won't name them, and that's just criminal.
Well, that's been opened up. Those files will be opened up very quickly, and also too that your prime minister or wherever you're the leader, I don't know his name, but it will say that he's also one of the people connected to pedophilia.
Yeah.
So they're going to come and collect him too. They know about him, but they're using him for a reason, temporarily. But see, the real one is already taken. They're saying the real one was already taken, but this is a white hat pretending to be him.
Yeah.
So you guys are on a couple more weeks, and it's done. There's no more waiting anymore.
Good.
Everyone's exhausted. They just want people to wake up and open their eyes and say, you know what? You have freedom. You don't realize how much freedom you got.
Yeah, that's right. They need to turn off the TVs and start using their minds.
Well, I got a cousin living in Australia. So, I mean, her husband passed away during the COVID times, and he had dementia. And that was really heartbreaking for me to watch her. You know, she could not be by his side before he crossed over, and that was really heart-wrenching for me because I knew him too. And but thing is that people don't realize that everyone will be taken care of, and then sure there are going to be there will be casualties of. We are part of the casualties of war because we're involved in what you call a spiritual war between God and Satan. And that's what we're all in the middle of right now. We were in the middle of. And so these are just leftovers. Leftovers from some of the people that still don't want to give up. They're hoping that they can get away with it and hide it. And so the last country that they're going after is Ukraine. There's bad, corrupt people there. Once they're done, out of the way, they're not there to bomb the people. They're there to get rid of them.
I totally believe that. Yeah,
just the bad ones, and then Russia will be back to, like, Ukraine will be back with Russia again. It has been. So there's people going to be out there going to try to discern and make you believe that everybody is evil. It's not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
But we're distracted right now by using the war and no longer following the COVID. You notice the COVID is actually somehow dissipating. They're following the war.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've said that a few times. All of a sudden, COVID's not here.
Yeah, COVID's gone. Like, it's foreign.
Yeah.
I remember a lady friend of mine who passed away. She was a famous psychic here in Canada, and she herself even predicted it. Sylvia Brown predicted this was going to happen back in 1984. She was back in 1984. She wrote a book saying they're going to have a flu-like virus that will be supposedly released, and it'll be controlling people for a couple of years, but then we'll get our lives back together, but lives back again in freedom. But she said our lives will never be the same after we get it back, because not the same as in negative, the same, but as in better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she passed away before. I don't think she's dead. I want to say I think she's passed, but I got a funny feeling that they scooped her up because she was making these predictions. She could be under protection right now. I'll find out once Trump brings everybody forward, and those 900 plus people that'll come out of protective custody, they're all going to come forward and going to say, "Hello, here I am." And go like, "No way!" There are all these people been hidden away for years. So
yeah, I keep waiting to see Elvis.
Oh well, I see him every day. He's doing his church services on Sundays.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, he's always there on Sundays doing his church services. But you're going to have people that you don't realize that are still alive. I mean, even Janis Joplin's still alive. You see, she refused to follow the cabal, so she had to fake her death. So she said she committed suicide. She didn't, or they said she overdosed. No, she didn't. She just had to hide. So, and I saw Janis Joplin about 6 months ago. Yeah, she was in the crowd with Trump. She was in the crowd, standing in the back of the crowd, and going like, "Oh, there she is."
Cool.
Here's how you get the hint. If anybody's going to will be coming back, what YouTube is doing and what the magazines are doing, they're showing you some of the people that are famous saying they're having troubles and they're getting divorced or they're selling their house. That means all these people are gone. But when they start bringing forward, oh, do you remember when these people, Elizabeth Montgomery? Oh, you remember when, some of these people from the past. How do you remember when? Well, when you start saying this, then you know very well that they are not dead, that they're very much in protective custody, and so they're going to be coming forward because they don't have to have their lives are no longer threatened, because all people that threaten their lives are already gone.
Yeah. So I'll have to pay more attention to that.
Yeah. You just look at your magazine, any Hollywood magazines, you see someone, oh, you remember when? Like Diana? Oh, folks, you guys don't realize where she's at. She's very much alive. She's been running around doing her thing all the time, and everybody's going like, no, she's dead. Oh, she's live. I know. I've seen her. She's very much alive.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, like I said, because both her and John F. Kennedy Jr. Those are two witnesses that'll be at the Guantanamo Bay Military Tribunal Court, and they'll be there to be witnesses to basically saying, "You and you and you are the ones that tried to kill me."
Good.
And it's already was recorded, folks. So that still has to happen. It's gonna happen in all across the world. Everyone's gonna see the military tribunal on TV.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, lots of them. Probably will see about me. You might possibly see about 10 days worth.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Nice to hear from you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care. Well, guys, I want to thank you guys for being part of this program, and I appreciate you being online. I should be on next week on YouTube or on Facebook as well as YouTube. And please share this with everyone. Join, and also if you guys can do also is to like and share YouTube with me as much as you possibly can. Because I know I got a funny feeling that FB is going to be going down pretty soon. And when it does, possibly maybe YouTube may go down too. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm actually working on getting some new places to go to. I actually have joined Rumble. I actually have joined Rumble, so I'm working on that one too. But you want to find me very well, talking back and forth, chat with you. You can always join Telegram and look for me. I have a page called True North Strong and Free. And join my page, have a chat back and forth. We can always do a conference room and do a lot of chatting and talking. That can happen. I have never tried that yet. Other people have on their pages. And also there's a brand new one coming out that Donald Trump actually has created, but it'll be released coming soon. So it's basically all to do with another type of network, but it's his network. It's going to be his social network page. So you guys can have really fun, and you get a chance to talk to him too. Okay. Carolyn says, I cannot join the chat in your chat in YouTube. It says create a channel to join the chat. Marty has. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to create nothing to join nothing. You just come in the chat room. They're making some changes, guys. But anyways, if you're unable to see the recorded program, please don't worry. You can always ask me, and I will put this page on my Telegram page. So if you want to hear from me or see what I've talked about this past week, please join and be part of it and watch it and please share this around with everyone. What else is there to talk about? If I'm unable to, and was basically what Facebook has done, they prevented me from sharing anything to you guys, even as a text. They're getting to be twits about it. So it's only good for, I got 6 more days, and after that I'm back in there to share some stuff. But I know, Corlin, I see you saying you're having a hard time talking or getting in there. But yeah. So I'm going to leave you guys, love you and leave you, and I'm going to leave you guys with the very same song. You guys may not know why, but this song I've been playing for a good couple of years. Originally, a couple of years ago, there was, to tell you the story, there was a young fellow who had a dream. He had a dream about John Lennon. And knowingly, everybody believed that John Lennon had passed away. So they said he got a song from this young fellow who actually was sent the words from John Lennon. And then this young fellow from India used his sitar, and they sang the song together. And this other guy actually was an impersonator, a John Lennon impersonator. So this song here is called Peace. Now, one thing I'm going to say, knowingly that I do know that John Lennon is still alive, and so is Yoko Ono. And they will be coming forward the next little while with Trump when he becomes inaugurated. But this song, I strongly feel that somehow I think he may have sent this message to someone to make you believe that he passed away. But This song here, it represents the words from John Lennon, peace. So listen to the words carefully. We'll talk. You guys be good to each other. God be with you all. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace, alright. Isn't it time, brother, stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. We one hurts, we one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace, alright. Peace, together. Peace.